Fantastic. Welcome to another Dragon-Fall chat. With me, as always, is my beautiful co-host Josh. He's got that beard.
Thank you.
A lot of beard.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of beard in this stream tonight. And then Dan Cotrupe. I'm probably saying your name incorrectly, but
it's okay. Internet friends, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I know. Well, I had you in my phone as Tectonic Dan in my phone for like 9 years, and I'm like, let me put this guy's real last name in there.
Yeah.
And so Cotrupe. How do you say it correctly?
I discovered this explaining to my girlfriend how to say the last name. It is Cotrupe like a sneeze.
Cotrupe like a sneeze.
Achoo, like
right.
Cotrupe.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
Like,
I'm probably saying it wrong. Chicagoans can't say names correctly, period. We're just
or told their roads correctly. Oh my God. I drove through that state without an easy pass for the first time last month, and oh my God.
We've got tolls.
You do have tolls, yeah, and it's the worst game ever. It's like, oh, what do I owe? We're not telling you. Oh.
Yeah. They'll send you a letter.
We can skip all that.
They'll send you a letter.
Fine-ish.
Yeah. So tell us about just give us a quick overview of what Tectonic Craft Studios is.
What it is most of my life at this point. It's where we go. Oh, this is me. This is my website.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I laser cut stuff for tabletop games. You know, I introduce myself to non-gamers as an industrial designer in the tabletop entertainment industry, and to everyone else I say, oh yeah, I make tabletop accessories for I laser cut accessories for tabletop games. And so it started out focusing on 40K and terrain for 40K, and then movement trays for Warhammer Fantasy, and then I had a con circuit, and I found out I got really into War Machine, and then I started getting into a plethora of other small games like Wreck Age, and
we don't need to talk about Wreck Age.
Huh?
We don't need to talk about Wreck Age. It's fine.
Sure. Like that whole, like that, the explosion of like other small games really opened my eyes to the flexibility of laser cutters, and of kind of like let me stretch my wings as a designer to do whatever I wanted, really. And so nowadays I'm making everything from base toppers to paint trays to movement trays for Games Workshop games to like signage and custom stuff for weddings and events, because once you know how to make lasers, you can make stuff with lasers.
Doing the custom stuff for weddings, I was like, dude, that's super clever. Like,
it is.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of good ones. Had some like regular ones where it's like, let's make it like lacy but classy, but maybe a little rustic looking. But I've had like a Zelda theme one, which was really cool. And I had one lined up that was all going to be like Halloween-y wedding. But that was supposed to be in June of this year, but that got
postponed indefinitely. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking about a little COVID in this video, but
okay.
Not yet. Sure. We're not there yet. So what inspired you to start getting into this kind of like design aesthetic? Like, do you have are you self-taught? Is there a degree that kind of pushed you in that direction?
So I went to school for architecture, and a big part of what got me through school was I was in a fraternity, which really facilitated my and we were a nerdy fraternity. We weren't like, we weren't like Animal House. We're much more like Revenge of the Nerds. Like we played Star Wars drinking games and like League of Legends rush events. And at one point there was 7 or 8.
There were LAN parties. There were LAN parties involved.
Oh yeah. LAN parties were a thing, but like we still like had regular parties. It was a really great. It was a great experience. And I did the one year after finishing finals. So architecture did all their finals a week before everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So for finals week, I just got to sit down. I'm like, all right, cool. I got like a bunch of beer and like 4 models, and I sat and painted something all day, like 12 hours long. Sat there all day and painted. It was because I hadn't gotten to in weeks. And all my friends came out, oh, what's this? And I gave them the pitch. This is 40K. This is a Tech Marine. He's really cool. He's got 4 servo arms, blah, blah. And everyone came down and they saw me change this thing from like a little clump of lead into like this. I'm a pretty okay painter. So it went from being it's nothing into something actually pretty cool looking. And so we ended up having 11 guys playing at one point. So there's always 40K happening. And one time I got home from the next semester, I got home from my midterms, and my friends were playing, and I was like, guys, what do you think of my model? And they like took out of my hand and put it on the table and kept playing. And I was like, you guys are absolutely awful. I'm going to bed. Don't break that thing. And then, you know, we kind of like, we're like looking at it, and my friend's like, could you do this with like other stuff besides these weird spatial architecture things? I'm like, well, yeah, I could do whatever you want. This stuff's easy. And so from there, I realized, you know, it's a much more stable material and a lot more design flexibility than some of the resin stuff or like homebrew stuff. Because I built exactly one thing that was like homebrew, like pink foam and foam core and stuff, and it lasted for like 3 hours before it died. I was like, that was not worth my Saturday. So
so it does sound like you've utilized. I mean, I could see an architecture degree being utilized in designing these structures and stuff like that. So like, I mean, because you do have like entire homes in your stuff. Like we'll go back to the website for a second. So yeah, like in the terrain kits, like you've got a lot of like ruined stuff, which is great. You know, we're talking about like 40K and stuff like that. But you do have like a beautiful little house.
Great cottage, baby. Yes.
Tony cottage.
That kid's so good.
It's so cute.
I
want to move in.
Well, it's only 4 inches by 4 inches, so you'd have some trouble moving into that. But yeah, that was something I built for Will Pagani, who wanted me to make something for War Machine. I was like, that game is want terrain. He's like, yeah, but what if we did and we made it cool? And I bought a bunch of it from you. I'm like, well, now I can do this thing. And that's what I made. And there's a bunch more of that coming out. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you know, there's more of that coming out. Like, I want to talk about like upcoming releases. So between the starting as a hobbyist with it, making terrain and stuff like that, how long did it take you to? Because you're a pretty young guy. College couldn't have been that. It's not that far in the rear view. So you must have started working at it as a job pretty quickly after college.
Yeah, it was about I graduated a semester late, and then I was doing it as kind of a side hustle for 6 months after that. And then I was like, people were like, this is actually really good, Dan. You should look into like doing this. And at the time I was working 3 jobs. I was working in 2 restaurants and a contractor part-time. So it's like, nothing could be this bad, right?
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's way more work than 3 jobs.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, yeah, about a year after I graduated, yeah, I started up I started making the files for my launch product line in October, fall 2011. And then I started business in 2012, early 2012. So
yeah, and then you started hitting the convention scene pretty soon after that, because we've known each other for most of that time, I think.
Yeah. So what was funny is I put one of those pieces. Adepticon had a contest, like when they were. This is that same year, 2012, a contest for terrain. I said, well, here's one of my big snazzy kits. Let's see what they think about that. And they ended up not picking it, but they did say, all right, well, you got 3rd place. Here's a ticket. And so I came to Adepticon like weeks after, even before I finished moving in my studio. I was like, hey, welcome to Adepticon. People were like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, I cook, but I also make this stuff. Yeah. So it was
that was when you started vending is when we met. So that was at 2013, right around there. So what's the process for making these files from the thought to getting it on the shelf? Like just give me a layman's, you know, get as techie as you want, but yeah.
What usually start with is like the very smallest kernel of an idea. I'm like, oh, that would be kind of cool if I did like a village or something. And so what I'll do then is I'll talk to people and kind of explain it and kind of read what they're liking and disliking about it, and or like answer their questions. Like, oh, someone's like, oh, I'm like, I really want to make a village set. And so I'll talk to someone and they'll say, oh, you mean like with bridges and stairways? I'm like, yes, absolutely, with bridges and stairways for sure. And I was thinking about this other thing, like, that sounds dumb. I'm like, Okay, well, we'll see. Maybe that makes it or not. And so I do that two, three, or four times, and I'll go through and then I'll make a list of all the things I want to make, and then I'll draw little thumbnail sketches. So I have like a sheet of graph paper with a series of like between 5 and 20 little.
Really?
You know,
So
like,
there's an analog. You start analog basically.
oh yeah, yeah. I actually have a really hard time unless something's purely geometric. So like this piece actually was pretty easy to do. I pulled most inspiration for that, except for the skulls, obviously, just from some Roman palazzos, and added some skulls and bullet holes, and like boom, now we're. Oh, these pictures are really old. Oh my gosh. Anyways, but by and large, I'll draw something small, and then I'll like go through the marker and pick out the parts that I like and draw it again, and then I'll scan it into the computer. This is not the most efficient way to go about this, but it's like
It's your method. It's your method, man. It obviously it's working. Like the stuff. You're a great designer, man, and you're a better designer than you are a photographer. I will tell you that. So.
Oh yeah, this is man, the website. So the website's one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm gonna update this. Check out name tags. It shows off a lot of my.
The name tags.
Art flex.
Yeah, and I have a couple of these.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Adepticon was the first one I started doing this for.
Over here. Yeah, you've got some ones that people painted up. Well, you painted.
I painted that.
Yep.
So yeah, slightly better photography. Still a cell phone though. Yeah. So up in the website.
Wonderful.
Is it leaning on a mouse?
It is.
Yeah, that's nice. Actually this mouse, like right here. Ta-da! That one Liz Beckley painted for me.
Is this Ross? Our Ross?
That's our Ross. Yeah, Liz Beckley painted that one for him. That's mine. She did way better, obviously, because she's amazing.
That's great. Yeah.
And yeah, updating my website during the lockdown, and depression's a hell of a drug. How much swearing can I do in this? Can we swear or no? It's a family show. No reason.
Yeah, you can. It's pretty laid back. It's not made for children, so
we're good, man.
Swear away.
All right. Well,
this is how I decided to paint mine. So just
straight swag. You should look mine. That's one of my favorite paint jobs. I
bought gold. I was at so I was at Gen Con. I just bought gold paint because I didn't have any with me, and just used up 2/3 of it, probably making this. So
that's so good. I love that dragon because that's definitely a like it's definitely a GM gotcha. Oh, sorry, was that too loud?
No, it's good, man.
So good. I like that one a lot. And that one is one.
Hopefully, when I got up, no one saw that I was wearing pajama pants, but you probably all saw I'm wearing pajama pants now.
It was when the screen sharing was on, so we very small box. You're saying
small pajama bottoms. But yeah. So I mean, yeah, and that's creative. Like when I hadn't seen anyone else do that. Like so, I like that you are like you started with the essentials, and now you're kind of branching out to like things that are enjoyable for you. And I think you like the event aspect. So this year must be kind of a bummer for you because of the lack of conventions. But
yeah, so that's actually been really interesting. So at the height of my convention going, Ross was the only person going to more than me at one point, and then he slowed down. I think last year I went to 26, which is too many.
I've seen you in 5 states, I think.
Yeah. It's So I really do enjoy seeing all my friends. So this is the thing, all my work friends are from cons. And so my friends live in Atlanta and Baltimore and Boston and Chicago and Minneapolis and Seattle and San Diego and Las Vegas. And so we all see each other in all these different cities every other weekend. So that's been really tough not seeing them, but weekends are great. I've had more weekends this year than I've had probably in my whole career. Right?
You don't have working weekends at least. So I think we kind of got sidetracked there.
Oh,
we didn't get to the birth to death aspect of your creative process.
Yes. Okay. We know where the idea came from.
Yeah.
You do the drawing, you scan it in, and then where does it go from there?
It goes into a CAD program. I use Rhino. That's what I use in school, and very good at it. Pardon my saying. I've been doing it for 15 years, so it's just very much second nature, and I know a lot of tricks and stuff for it. So I go in there and I make a collision model, which is just to test if all the parts fit together the right way, and they don't, because I'm not that good at it. And then make it work.
Measure twice, cut once, man. Like that's yeah.
Oh yeah. And I've made that mistake like the hard way. I'm like, all right, let's cut this big batch of stuff. And someone's like, dog, this is off by an eighth of an inch. I'm like, oh no, because that doesn't work at all.
No.
So I've been there. I've learned that lesson the hard way. And I'll go back and forth. I'll do a couple tests, fits and drawings onto it. And I think, so time is now weird for me, but I know that 2 weeks ago, I was on a hangout with my friends, and they were like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a narrative event with this library. I was like, and someone's like, oh yeah, weren't you gonna make things for that? And it was like 2 a.m, and I'd already had a bottle of wine. I'm like, you know what? Watch this. And so I put on screen share, I did it like right there for them. And they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm like, yep, here it is. Don't throw the glove, my friend. And that wasn't final. I still had to do like figuring out tabs and slots and alignments and stuff. But by and large, it was probably an 85% done product in 24 minutes. Yeah. And so, and that's the fun part. The unfun part is like going back and forth and testing it and cutting prototype, test prototype, break it, cut it, find out what you need to do, pull up the calipers, remeasure it.
Is it the same materials for a prototype that you would be doing on the finished product?
Yeah, it's all just MDF.
All MDF?
Yeah. I could do acrylic and stuff, but it's more expensive and it smells bad.
Smells bad at the process itself, correct, right?
Yeah,
Like
also the off-gassing
laser
too.
burning acrylic smells like what you'd think a laser burning acrylic smells like?
Yeah, it smells like the chemical fire.
Yeah.
Because it is. And then the cutting it isn't the bad part. It's after it gets cut, you have to like let it, sit someplace, and it off-gasses all that melted plastic, which gives headaches. And so yeah, I could, but the facilities I've been using have not had enough space or time built into them to make that not a problem. So yeah, I use all MDF. And after that, I'll go through and I'll build. So I build a piece and take some naked photos of it where I just built like it is. And then I'll go through, I'll paint it, allegedly, someday, eventually, and then take pictures of that and put that on page 2. And that's another thing. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do plenty of this during lockdown. No.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you've been working your ass off for like 9 years straight.
Yeah.
So if COVID turns into, oh, well, I'm going to uproot and move, I've got a new relationship, I've got all this stuff going on, and it turns into Dan taking some time for himself, I don't think anyone's upset with you. But you do have more stuff that is available at the conventions than you have on your site. So when you do feel relaxed and you do feel like you finally got that zen out of you, start taking some photographs, man. Like this stuff's cool.
It is, and that's something that I've been, even I think the last thing I did, I finished up some shipping containers for 40K, finally, and I finished them. I was like, oh my God, I made this. This is amazing. This is me. I did this. Great, cool. And that's part of an upcoming set that's not released yet. But and a bunch of that stuff happens. So yeah, I am a bit behind the website because, again, single man operations. So that whole process, plus setting up conventions, plus filling everyday regular orders, plus catching up on sleep from all the other stuff I was doing. I made all those things.
Yeah, like that lamppost is sweet, man. I'm excited by a lot of it. Like, so, and then like this has got the little crate. Cute. It's adorable. Like this stuff is fun to paint. Like your wooden stuff, I think is phenomenal. You put it together, and then you throw a wash on it, and it's done. Like I have some of these. Like I did like a metal on top of it and stuff like that. The scrap shack. I mean, for the wreckage stuff for scatter terrain, it was fantastic. So, like, is the well in here? Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
well,
going
still
well.
left. I end up doing a lot more stippling than washing, or also washing, but stippling is an important part of covering a
Mhm.
lot of area in a gradient. And so speaking of painting, painting these kits is something that people are naturally afraid of, which I didn't even consider. And people are like, what do you use? Special glue, special paint, special tools? I'm like, oh, I hadn't even considered that. I just opened my toolbox and started going.
Yeah.
So the paints I use are all my regular paints. I use a lot of rattle can for coverage. And
Do
as
you
far
use,
as,
what do you use? I like the Rust-Oleum camo for these kind of things.
oh yes, absolutely. Rust-Oleum camo is like the double thick ultra matte is chef kiss. So good. That's the stuff. Or sometimes I'll use Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 primer paint satin.
Really, the 2-in-1 I thought was more of it was thicker, so I've been warned away from it, but some people love it. So
Something that I mentioned to everyone, people are like, oh, I was told that when you use MDF, you have to do this and you have to do that. I was like, listen, MDF is a very region specific material because of it comes from lumberyards, which comes from, the forests, the logging areas of where it comes from, and then how it's processed. So like MDF made in Europe or in Poland is going to have a very different composition and finish and treatment than from the US or from Mexico or from China.
so MDF, the acronym itself. Someone doesn't know what that means.
Density fiberboard.
Thank you. And so it does soak up paint a little bit when you're throwing it on it. So I think people just need to understand. So the Krylon is also a great one to use on that.
So
These are not, yeah. The Krylon
the stuff that I use is actually semi-sealed furniture grade MDF, and so it doesn't soak up much paint at all. Something that happens is, when painting terrain, the volume of paint you're using is just much more, and some MDF does soak it up. I've seen this happen. That's why I used to use regular stuff in the beginning. I switched to what I have now because of that, and a few other reasons. But
what are they? We're here to talk to you about your craft right now, man.
It was just more. It was more uniform, more flexible, more durable. Like it was better all around, and for some reason, the same price. So
yeah, that's a no-brainer right there.
It was, but again, it depends on what application you want. Because if someone's not, making tiny toys out of this and then painting it, they probably don't care about the stuff that I care about.
Sure.
Where's I going with this?
Somewhere. How many lasers do you have?
So right now I'm working out of Makerspace. I had one for a while, then I had two for a while, and then one of the little ones died, so I'm back down to just one. And miraculously, I've had the same base machine for a long time. And luckily, just before COVID hit, my lease on my old studio ran out, and so I left that studio, put my machine into storage, and started working out of Makerspace. And like the next week was like, boom, lockdown, can't work. I'm like, wow, that would have been a lot of money I would have been on the hook for.
Yeah.
My landlord is also awesome.
Tell us about your landlord. It's fine. You can just don't name names, but go wild. So we've gotten to the point where you've got a physical product, you've got a prototype, you fit it in, you've made sure that in the third dimension that it all works. Well, also, what's your like early on? You probably had more failure rate with that and more frustration than you do now, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'd forget things like, I would forget things like I'd miss a slot, or I'd miss a line, a tab, or I'd make pieces overlap in the cut sheet. Actually, in the beginning, I didn't have standardized cut sheets, so I'd just be like, oh, this piece comes on a 3x6 piece of MDF. This one comes on a 4x2, and this one on an 8x8, and it was a nightmare to try and package. I'm like, nope, everything comes on the same size with rounded corners, and yeah. So I guess after I get a working prototype, the next step is to make a cut sheet and make cut tabs in it so that it stays in. So I used to try and like really dial it in so they'd pop out like I don't know. I can't think of anything else that popped out like this, but they're just like you press your thumb to the back of it and they just crisply pop out.
Like a puzzle.
Like a puzzle. Yeah, yeah. But it would
like
take
a sheet of board game parts.
they're probably doing it now. So those have like tiny little breaks in them. That's what I do now. That's what like Sarissa and Death Ray and a bunch of people do them. It's just standard now. But I was like, no, I'll do it this other way, which is way more exacting and has a lot more room for error and frustration, which it did. So I was like, never mind, let's do it the regular way. There's no room for ego anywhere, really.
I could see you. I could see you getting in your own way for quality control, being like, this I think is better, but it's gonna be an enormous pain in my ass. So
I am famous among my friends for finding the hard way.
Yeah. So we've gotten past that point, and then so production. What's it like? Like, do you what kind of order size do you make before? Like, do you make? Hey, I know I'm doing this many cons, so I'm gonna make 1,000 of these damn things, or do you prefer to make 100 before each con? Like, what's going on?
It depends on what show I'm going to. For a while, I was going to hitting War Machine shows really hard, and so I just like push out a lot of the tournament trays, and I bring like 20, 30, 50 to a show and sell as many as I could. And then from that, I started making other stuff like the widgets and stuff or bases. And so the things that I make depend very much on what show I'm going to and how many people are going to it. Because I've had shows, even some of the Midwest shows, that I've started going to when they were smaller. Like, here, come to the Midwest for our 100-person show. I'm like, oh man, I can't swing that. I can't swing plane tickets or 4 days off to do that.
I've talked you into one or two of those though, and you will do them sometimes. But
we got there, right? So like the last year Dragon-Fall.
Like you've done Dragon-Fall and you did Lee's convention.
The hangout though. That was the hangout with you.
Yeah,
that was a workation.
You remember that saxophone player outside of was it Kroger?
Yeah.
Were you there? Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my God. Yeah, you mean Uncle Adam. That was magical.
Well, this guy was playing a saxophone and playing Morphine songs, just like, and it was fantastic. One of the highlights. It was for Lee's convention in Detroit.
I was really bummed out I couldn't make that one.
Yeah, it ended up. It was good. I think it was pretty well attended for like a small like one-time thing, and but it just like it was great to get like we just kind of Dan and I just kind of hung out the entire time. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that was what it turned into. So in the beginning, your bread and butter was the stuff like the movement trades and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I remember I bought some of these debris things from you for X-Wing when I was playing X-Wing. Yeah.
I put some Easter eggs in that kit.
Did you?
Yeah.
Tell us about them. What are they?
If you pull up a picture of it.
Yeah.
So in this, you can't see my mouse. Never mind. In the one to the right of that one.
This one.
The bottom one.
This one.
Yep. So right where your mouse is, that's the Firefly. If you're looking straight at it.
Oh, cool.
And I had
another one here. That's definitely a TIE fighter. I see that. Like.
Oh, I guess that could be a TIE fighter. I suppose if you look in a certain light.
No, this one right here.
Oh yeah, I'm covering my butt because lawyers.
Oh yeah, it's not a TIE fighter. I don't. Yeah,
it's a bow fighter.
I made a joke. Speaking of Adam, I was talking to Adam the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, there's some creative stuff coming out of Warhammer 40,000 right now." And I was like, "Oh, is it from their legal team? Like, because that's the most creative part of that company." So.
The new Necron stuff actually looks very, very cool. They really drove home.
Cool. They're always going to put out cool stuff, but I'm not buying into this "they're your friend again" thing, man. I'm not doing it. So
listen, they're a corporation, and they're doing a better job of addressing their customer desires. This year they fell off the wagon a little bit. Last year they were amazing. This year they're kind of they're slipping a little bit, but they're still interested in my money, and they're still interested in how to get that money. And yeah.
I always go back to the terrain kits. These are my favorite, man.
Man, it's so weird. like seeing this and like how far behind. There's so much stuff on this website.
I know you've got a
Feels
lot
so
of really
silly.
cool stuff that blows this stuff away that you need just to get up on the jump into your
Is-
Shopify or whatever and get it done.
Is the
So,
crane on there somewhere?
yeah, the crane is in the third page, I think, of this one.
Yeah, they're
It might be under the
scatter terrain.
objective marker kits, I think.
No, it's me under scatter.
Is it under?
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Hey,
Sorry.
I made the website. Mess that it is.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, you passed it. It's on the first page.
Was it on the first page? God.
Slower.
So this is why, like, I'm no longer taking requests with the web browsing on this stuff. It's here we go. Crane.
That's an old version of the crane too. The new one's way better than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't you show us that, and rather than just tell us?
Because I'm at my girlfriend's house and half of my supplies are in a
Wait.
storage unit.
Wait.
Oh no, they're not a storage unit anymore. They're my apartment, and half are in my makerspace. So
Hang on. Hang
How
on a
many items do
second.
you have in the line that you actually like bring to a convention these days?
I don't know.
What's that? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I didn't hear you though.
Oh, it's fine. How many products do you have in the line right now that you bring to a convention? Like how many SKUs?
What I started doing with this is the tip I got from a friend last Adepticon is, maybe don't bring all of everything. So the wider, basically being a one-man operation, the more products I got, the less of everything I could bring. So I was like, all right,
Sure.
here's 2 of these things and 2 of these. And what I started doing is just cutting a bunch of the new stuff and then bringing my display models for old things. And then it says, hey, if you want one of these, if you place the order here, I'll skip shipping and I'll drop ship it to you when I get home. That saves, it saves me issues, and that gets them what they want. They don't need to worry about packing it. And then the stuff that I know is going to sell anyways. So that works out pretty well.
I
Hey,
got
Matt,
like,
if you open your email real quick, I sent you a link to a Chicago Skirmish War Games
oh yeah,
review.
about your
thing
stuff.
a review of the crane with the newer model crane that our member Tim wrote. I have one also that is
more rivets.
partially assembled.
It is a very fun kit to assemble.
That's actually that's what prompted Tim to write the article. It's more less a review and more a how-to.
So,
All right,
I'll take this.
Crane.
This
I feel
link
like
actually.
I'm saying Krang from Ninja Turtles over and over again. Krang.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you
Yeah,
scroll down to
this
the
is a
bottom
hefty
somewhere.
piece, man. So, how long does it take to actually we were talking about, like I said, you got the prototype, it's done, it's good. You've greenlit the crane. And how long does it take to actually physically print this? What's that?
I cut them in batches. So that's probably 15, 20-minute cut. I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I put them in a thing and I press print and I keep doing what I'm doing.
Beautiful. It's great.
My spreadsheet knows somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, because in order to have, I'm sure you've tried to figure out your profit loss margin with certain.
Oh yeah, I make money on these things. But
yeah,
I used to not care. I used to be much more generous in my margins, and I was like, oh no, this is.
You are. So we've talked to several businesses, and every single person goes, I used to be more generous in my margins, pretty much. Or I used to, like we were just talking to Sam, like, oh yeah, it took me a while to figure out what my value was for my art. And I think that's a knee-jerk new business thing. Like, well, I'll just do it cheaper and we'll figure out if it makes money. But like at the end of the day, down the process, you're gonna have to be like, oh well, I'm gonna have to raise my prices because this is what the market will bear, and also it's what I should have been charging. Period.
Yeah, and it's something. So for me, I was less
I'm
trying
loving
to like
the twirl of the hair. By the way, just continue.
a lot to under control
Can I
here.
do mine too?
It was just bothering me. I was like kept playing with it. I hope no one cares.
No
Or rather,
one cares.
if you care, I don't. So
I find it arousing, to be honest.
So for me, it was less trying to like undercut people and get in there, and more that I just didn't have faith in myself. Which has been
and
like
that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you were trying to undercut and be the new dog with the lower prices or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, I've seen some people do that, and they've all gone out of business. Oops.
Yeah.
I've had some people be really weird about it too. Like, hey, I'm coming after you. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm gonna go back and make some money.
Yeah.
And you see this also too with the emergence of the boom in the hobby market of laser cutting and 3D printing. You're like, oh, I can make this thing for like 8 cents. It's like, I mean, so can I, but I've got to pay rent and I've got to pay insurance and I've got to buy material and I've got to pay electric and pay postage and keep my website up and keep my accounting software and blah, blah, blah. And it's all these things I need to take care of because I'm going to feed myself with this. And this guy, printer Tim online is like, oh yeah, sure. I'm a programmer and this is just 9 hours of my life that I didn't care about because I was sleeping or playing games, whatever. It was fun, which is great. Those 9 hours still exist and they have costs to them. Mm-hmm. And there's me and some other 3D printer laser cut guys from the industry will jump into and break up discussions about this kind of stuff, but just like someone to start shedding light on that, and no one likes hearing it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the internet is created for arguments, so I completely understand. And so then you get to the point where you're finally selling this product, and that might be your product's great for one, but you're damn good at selling this stuff, and I think a lot of people might be their stumbling block of like, so was your biggest growth when you started doing the convention circuit and getting yourself out there? Because it's easy to be white noise on the internet.
Actually, so both those things are true. I actually don't have much internet presence, period. Mm-hmm. I have like some on Facebook, but I have not been great. I have some like very sporadic bouts of like Twitter, Instagram, but I don't really buy SEO or anything like that. I just go to conventions. I talk to hobbyists. I talk to people who movers and shakers in communities, and I've had a lot more luck going out and building up the community than I have from plastering ads on.
I feel like you would have been, you would be a guy in the Wild West that would have like a theater troupe or like things to sell to people, and you'd go town to town, and every April they'd be happy to see you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's Dan's selling technique. And I hope you don't find that. I don't think there's anything offensive about that, but
I think that's just my life. I think that's my life now. I don't think it's Wild West thing. That's just like, I actually have people at conventions like, oh man, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to buy from you. I'm like, I've got a website.
I will sell you
$8.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I want to save on shipping. So I came to Adepticon. I'm like, you spent $1,000 to come to Adepticon, save $8.
Yeah, I don't think you were their only purchase.
Come on in.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
No.
I missed Adepticon and you this year. It was rough.
This hobby doesn't always lend itself to fiscally intelligent people. Is that a safe thing to say?
Hey, I'm right here. Okay. Oh, not me. Oops. Yes, I mean.
No, not you specifically. Not this time.
I bought so much Marvel stuff this week, though.
Did you? Yeah, he's been playing the Marvel Strike Protocol.
Protocol.
I
love it.
We've been calling in Adam's little group. We've been calling. I coined the name. I was like, it just sounds like Marvel and then word salad after. So we've actually been calling it Marvel Lunch Rainbow, just because those are the two words I came up with in a row. Because Strike Protocol means nothing to me as far as Marvel heroes go. You know,
it's Crisis Protocol.
Crisis Protocol. Whatever.
It is a little unwieldy.
It is impossible to remember the name of that game. Like,
I mean, clearly not, 'cause we both just did it.
yeah.
MCP though is 3 little letters, and the game is so good. The game is so good.
It
Yeah,
is
I mean, I
very
watched-
well done and
Yeah.
flavorful. Oh yeah, you've been there.
Yeah, you and Mike played it over at your place, and I kind of watched and played with your dogs. But I mean, it's a little sports ball-y for me, for like with the objectives and stuff. But it's cool, man. Whatever. Are you gonna make some train for it?
Yeah, that was one of oh, pardon me, wrong
Don't
pipe.
die. Don't die.
Yeah, well, I mean, someday I want to live forever. This is a lot of ugly happening. Anyways, someday, not today. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that I was working on for MCP that kind of starter stepped on as last fall happened, because some personal things happened. I was like, I need to figure stuff out for a bit, and then I was like, all right, cool, about to get up and running into the next con season, and then
Yeah,
so
we
yeah,
know.
I've got some terrain
Which is
stuff happening.
Other than that, like pausing certain projects and stuff like that, like what COVID pivots have you had to do?
Great segue.
I've had to, I got an influx of cancellation funds come in, which was great because sales dropped for a bit. When it first happened, I had a lot
Have
of
they
people-
gone up? Because people are hobbying a lot right now.
people are hobbying a lot. My fulfillment, I've had limited access to. So my workplace got locked down for 10 weeks. And so for that, I put up a post like, hey, if you place orders, I can fulfill them, in June when they get opened. But I'm also gonna have to fulfill all the other orders. So it's gonna take probably another month after that. And people were really, really great about that. I only had one person who was like, and I emailed every person back personally to make sure, hey, I want you to know this is how it's going to happen. And only one person was like, you know what, I'll wait. And then he came back and bought stuff anyways. So that was really, really great to see that kind of support. Like, hey, I want to make sure you guys have stuff. I want to make sure you guys stay up. And I had, I think I got my 11th order from one of my repeat customers this week or this past Monday, which is really cool to see. Like people keep coming back to me. But the output, so costs went down a lot too. So like cons are a great source of income for me, but they're expensive and they cost a lot of time, like personal time, like personally they cost a lot of time. So I've been sleeping at all, which is neat and new for me. I've been spending a lot less money. But sales have kind of matched the cost, which has been great because I needed that. And I think if I had more, I made the mistake of during the lockdown starting like 4 big projects. It's like, cool, 40K terrain, Warcry terrain, Marvel terrain, Necromunda terrain. Let's start all these at once. And so they all like make their progress at the same rate, which is not finished yet, which is unfortunate.
I was literally going to ask you, what's in the pipeline right now?
Right now in the pipeline, I'm finishing off a 40K terrain set for 9th edition.
Okay.
I've been working with the folks from Warzone Atlanta to get a very table-ready, very playable set of terrain, and so that's been really, really great to have such intelligent and considerate input for that, as well as making something economical and probably the most durable kits yet. Most pieces on that have 3 points of connection. And
so is it going to be similar to the terrain table thing you did before?
This is actually what started the inspiration for it, because when this kit happened, I didn't think people wanted to buy full sets of terrain, and then I did this project with Pro Tabletop, and it sold, and it sold well. So this is stuff that I was able to say, okay, now people want to buy terrain. So I started making more terrain, making more cool stuff. Yeah, and some of the stuff was made to fit a certain budget. There was price points we had to hit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little less 3D than some of my other kits.
Yeah, no, I understand it. It's meant to be in that box, but it's fantastic stuff.
So there's new 40K stuff coming out, and once I have that, I guess matrix of sets established, I'll be working different aesthetics to fit like Xenos and Chaos and all the other stuff that's maybe not as Imperial for 40K, because there's a lot of other armies out there that just don't have terrain, period, or they have very limited access to stuff. And so
And they're probably the hungriest, to be honest.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But the first set is Imperial because market share is a thing, unfortunately. D&D is a market I'm breaking into that's I'm having a lot of fun with, because it's a lot of like, when I'm looking at how to sell stuff and how to package stuff, and I look at what's already out there, because people know how to buy it already. Because in the beginning, I was doing a lot of really weird stuff. People are like, what do I do with this? How do I buy this? And so I keep to existing.
With that stuff, of all the products that you have out right now, let's use that enthusiasm. Of the products that you've done, what are you most proud of? And for the products that you're working on, what are you most excited for?
The answer for that is usually whatever I'm working on right now is what I'm most proud of. Oh, this is the best thing. This is the best thing.
Not a wrong answer. It's not a wrong answer.
My paint rack is probably the best, like the thing I'm most proud of. That's a thing that I was working on for like 2 years. We're like, make a paint rack, just do it like a stadium. I'm like, no, I have a tiny apartment that already exists. That's just and so yeah, it's easy. Just make steps. I'm like, no, steps is dumb. I want it to be compact. I want it to be visible so I can see my, because I was like, I had
modular paint rack.
Yep. Yeah. So
stepped paint racks, it's not that they're dumb. They just need a lot of space.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it takes up a fifth of the space probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And more than that. I mean, it depends on how small your workspace is. My workspace at the time was about like, I don't know, probably about as big as this laptop. It was like a little bigger. It was like 24 by 12 space in my 800 square foot apartment. And so it was really difficult. And so I wanted something that could, I don't think I have a picture of this, but they also have wall mounts on the back.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can put them on the wall or just screw them into the wall to brace them. You could, that's for the Badger stuff. Mm-hmm. They can stack and adapt modularly, and they hold the paints upside down so you can see what colors they are, and then you have to shake them afterwards, like you have to.
Like you're shaking them by taking them off the damn thing. I hear you.
That was playing the game where I was like, what paint am I doing? What paint is this? Where's the blue? Where's the blue I need? Which is not the game I want to play. What I want to do is paint my minis. So that's exciting. That's probably still a thing where I'm like, man, that was just like worth the wait.
Cool. Yeah. No. So upcoming pipeline, the stuff you're most excited about. So the Dungeons and Dragons is something you're that's a market, dude. That is a market.
It is, and it's something that I've kind of, someone's like, oh, what about the warlock terrain stuff? It's like, this is just gonna be different. And for some people, they're gonna like the warlock stuff, and some people are gonna like my stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I started this off with a PAX Unplugged, and it's just a very simple set of tiles. And the idea is that I'll be adding more and more packs to this, and more ways you can build up with it or adapt it or use it in other games. So like, if you buy this dungeon tile set, I'm working on a set of like ancient ruins that you can use those dungeon tiles as the floor plates for these ruins, or you can use those ruins with floor plates in them now as part of your dungeon if you want to add some stairs and stuff. And the idea is everything that you buy from me is going to add into the value of the stuff that you already have. So the more things you have, the more you have out of everything. Exactly. Jordan got some stuff here. And one of the most
Josh and I can talk for 30 seconds if you want to go grab something real quick.
Sure.
Also, good to see Dan's butt.
Oh, my butt. Hey, I heard that.
It was just out of view.
You got a question, Josh? Because otherwise, I'm going to ask him what he's going to be been listening to, and what's the socials in a minute. So
yeah,
your time to shine.
That's fine. I'm curious about that. So when we were talking to Sam, I had not heard of any of the bands that he listed.
None.
Except for Uriah Heep.
I'm sure you couldn't read their logos either.
Probably not.
Yeah, what you got for us, big guy?
So two of the things that I have is this is a dungeon cube, which is like a little stackable
Oh yeah, that's
square
great.
thing. And these are great because they're so they can go and stack on top of each other like this. And I also have a set of stairs, which I couldn't find in the shelf, but it also fits on top of this, or if it lines up to it. And so these are things that you can use to make pillars or walls or.
Green and gold. They're Mario Brothers.
Yes, sure. And so, you know, that's something that's lets people also do a little bit of Legoing with their stuff, which everyone likes to do. And here's a little door, which I worked on for the game Relic Blade.
Adorable. It kind of reminds
It's adorable.
Me, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I didn't mean it like that. It kind of reminds me of like the original. I don't know. Hero Quest is du jour, but like I've always loved the old Hero Quest little like nooks and doors and stuff like that, and it kind of reminds me of that. It's good. Yeah.
So it's also like now you're starting to be able to play with this space three-dimensionally, and it works really well with the deep cuts terrain, and it works well with my other stuff. So like those wells and those gallows and those all those stuff to work out well with the dungeon stuff. And I really think that's going to give me a lot of space and a lot of design space to sound snooty, to really like
cool, man. That's awesome.
make fun stuff, right? Like I actually got to meet some of the D&D designers at PAX Unplugged, which is where I kind of unveiled the concept, and she was like, "Oh wow, this looks really, really interesting. What is this from?" I'm like, "Oh, I just made these things up," because I had like some obelisks and some like symbols and some ruins, and she's like, "What's this from?" I'm like, I don't know. I made these things up. It's like, well, this is really cool because it's not something I recognize.
When are we going to see these on the site, man? I want them.
Probably after I move, because I've got a hellish 3 weeks ahead of me.
So you've heard it here. If you're getting one of, and also I wanted to thank you for giving codes to
for sure.
our winners. Wait 3 weeks and then check the site basically. Well,
or pick up paint racks and come back in 3 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's true. Just keep coming back. Sign up for the newsletter. Wait until you see that he's revamped things. And I said wait 3 weeks from today, which is not when this video is posting. It's posting.
Well, that'll give him a little extra time.
Yeah, we're giving Dan as much leeway as possible.
Go ahead.
No, that stuff's exciting, man. Like, I want it, so give it. Sell it to.
I'm also gonna live closer to you by like 12 hours.
I know, it's gonna be fantastic.
And like at this point, my friends live in so many different states, but now I'm closer to them. So like I have a friend down in Charleston, Illinois, and it's like 5 hours away. I'm like, oh, or I think it's 7 hours away or 8 hours away. It's like, oh, that's fine.
Close to Chicago, but
it's not. It's not close to anything really, but it's I don't know, it's 2 hours away from St. Louis and Des Moines and something else. Chicago.
And you're gonna be 3 hours from me. I'm gonna show you the city, man.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, like when the city opens back up, right? Because
it's like half opened right now. Like I would, but there is stuff I would like to do. Like right now, we could go to the lake, we could do stuff like that, and like I could take you to some restaurants and stuff like that have like outdoor seating that you can just get a reservation for and stuff. But like when it's fully open, like
sounds very romantic.
Museums. Oh no, this is meant to be a romantic overture to our friend Dan here. So yeah. I mean, look at that. Look at that bun.
As Meryl Streep to you. You like that?
So Dan,
yes.
Tell us what's something that's inspiring you, whether it's on your painting queue, whether it's a book you're reading, whether it's a music that you've been listening to while you've been doing your CAD files, and then tell us how we can find out more about Tectonic Craft Studios, like your socials, your website, all that stuff.
So the audiobooks that I've been listening to, I just finished listening to Dresden Files, which is okay. I mean, I like it a lot. I don't like it as much as some of the stuff I found since I started reading it,
Sure.
which is the work of Joe Abercrombie. He recently released a book called The Trouble with Peace. And he writes such fantastic dark fantasy. And it's not like edgelord dark fantasy. It's like, oh, people do awful things sometimes because they kind of suck, but they wish they didn't. It's not like, oh man, I'm just the craziest badass ever. Like, oh, this guy's like, oh man, I killed a bunch of people. That sucks. They're gonna kill me though. I don't know. It's really a pretty intelligent take on fantasy writing, and he's written a bunch of other books in setting.
Yeah, and fantasy stuff and stuff he does. The name is very familiar to me.
Joe Abercrombie, yeah. So his first book was called The Blade Itself, and I sent the book to a friend, and he said, "Oh, this is a really great book. It has some sword porn in it, which is fine, and sword porn is like super cool action sequences because he used to be a screenwriter. But the setting is very wonderful, and the characters are all so believable. It's just like the new book came out 3 weeks ago. I listened to it twice in the first week.
Really?
Yeah, it's that good. It's such a good book. And the first book of this recent trilogy is called A Little Hatred. But Joe Abercrombie makes a whole bunch of stuff. The First Law trilogy and Age of Madness trilogy, both very good. And I have some stuff that I've drawn with references to things that he's talked about, things that he's done. That's just like little Easter eggs hidden in there.
That's fun.
And as far as me, so Tectonic Craft Studios is the website, and I am Tectonic Craft Studios on Facebook, and I am Tectonic_craft on Instagram and Twitter. And those have all been pretty quiet, honestly, this year, just because of everything going on. I've had to, because of limited access to my workspace, I don't want to do like a lot of push for come get the stuff, but also wait, because the delivery times have been pushed back a little bit as well because of the post office, as well as just everything.
Everything. It's cascading things, man. Like I hear you. Like kudos to you to keeping it together during all this. Like
together.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
So yeah, and so I'm looking forward to these new projects coming to light. I'm looking forward to pretty much everything. I'm looking forward to the next time I can see you. You're gonna get the longest goddamn hug you've ever had in your life. And Dan, thanks for your time tonight, man. Like,
sure, absolutely.
And especially thank you for the codes for the charity. The whole thing is for charity now. Like it's a foundation. It's a 501c3. So like the convention's not even trying to like make money anymore. Just trying to move forward. So hopefully I'll see you before then. But hopefully I'll see you at Dragon-Fall 2021. And
oh yeah, absolutely. Now it's nearby, so that'll be easy peasy. And yeah,
you might even
I have like a.
It might there's I can't talk about it, but it might get a little closer to where you are right now. So you already have your skits, so
okay.
No specifics there whatsoever. But yeah, Dan, thanks so much, man.
Absolutely.
Josh, you got any parting thoughts for our brother here?
I don't think so. This has been really interesting, though.
Yeah, I learned stuff. I mean, like the amount of work and talent you have to put into the craft that you're doing. It kind of I can see why there's a lot of people that you've outlived company wise, because that's a hard racket. So thanks, man. And I can't wait for this to come up. I'm gonna put this up the day of on the 17th. It'll be 16th or 17th. I'll let you know. And Josh for co-hosting with us, man. So
thank you very much, Matt. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure was all
right. Bye, buddy.